because like people pitch things to me all the time. And so I told this kid who, a good friend of mine, I said, here's my idea with you in the title, right? I said, we're going to put you main event. You come out, you vacate the title, and you never come back again. And he wasn't in for that idea. I was like, I think it's going to go over. You drop the title and you never come back. People will wonder what happened and just let it happen.
No, will he ever defend?
Will he ever defend? And he's like, do you like me or not? I'm like, no, man, I really don't. But anyways, not to bury people, but I was trying to figure out with him what to do and everything.
Yeah, that's tough. Then that's tough too. Like when like say for example, you got guys as your, like, say you like try to build something around a dude, and then you build a storyline up, you put the belt on them, and then maybe a couple more shows, and then they're like, yeah, I don't want to wrestle anymore, or something comes up and they flake. Like, what do? You're like, oh, that happens all the time, dude.
Right, because it's like, yeah, you go to these big shows or promotions where they run regularly. It's like, yeah, talent's going to show up, blah, blah, blah. But then when you are in a promotion that's outside the range of people, it's like, oh, are they showing up? Are they having car problems? Are you just the third priority on the list? There's all sorts of stuff that just comes up. Makes that
or injuries.
Oh, well,
guys get hurt. Or like real life stuff happens. Car accidents or whatever.
So I'm going to preface this right now because I feel like we're going down this route. I am extremely squeamish when it comes to sports injuries. I cannot look at them. I cannot watch them. My friends will put them on repeat when we go watch sporting events. I can't do it, which is crazy that I'm a referee, right? You'd think like, dude, you're going to see this stuff up close and personal. But thankfully, I haven't seen that many horrible injuries happen in the ring. Have you had some incidents that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, are you talking like do you get squeamish of like blood in the ring, or are you just talking like broken like football injuries and stuff, or like an ankle tweaks or something?
Yep. Or basketball and football injuries?
Oh yeah, some of those are gnarly, dude.
They're just wicked. No, but like if a guy gets busted open bleeding, like that doesn't bother me as much for some reason, which you would think it would, but no, that doesn't get to me as much as like guys twisting ankles and I'm sitting there watching it in slow motion trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life.
Because all of a sudden the guy's bleeding from the head in basketball and you're like, that's a work.
Right. I saw him pull something out of his wristband. He clearly gigged.
Clearly. No, what I love is when like in basketball, and I saw this like when Kobe one time got a hand injury, and they show this highlight all the time where his like fingers like bent the wrong way, and then he just walks over to the sidelines. Some fucking guy on the sidelines just like pulls his finger, and he's like back in the game, 100% good to go.
So the one thing about
that's so awesome.
The one thing about podcasts that's just terrible is you can see me right now. We're in a room together, so you can see me visibly getting like tight and shaking in my chair, thinking about all this, and it's definitely not going to come through. But there was an injury to Junior Seau. I want to say 98, 99. I don't know. He was playing for the Patriots at the time, and he was coming off the sideline, and his forearm was broken right down the middle, hanging downward, and they just are replaying him jogging off with it dangling, and it just I can't.
Yeah, it's so weird because like wrestling, we're always taught like if you get injured in a match, like to work around it or work through it. Now on TV you're seeing stoppage.
Right.
And you're seeing more attention to, they've got gloves on. The refs have the gloves on, or they're, if it gets too crazy, they just stop the match. Whereas, while
we're right there, do you think the gloves have anything to do with actual health, or do you think they're to enhance the fact that there's blood present?
I mean, I think No, like in wrestling, you think it's just a gimmick, like a
I mean,
prop
like,
or
trust me, I don't want to be touching anything gross, but like, I
uh,
always thought of it as
yeah.
when you see a ref with gloves, you're mentally like, where's the blood that's happening? So I'm wondering if it's more often a gimmick than actually anything health related at this point. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I wear them. Don't get me wrong. I've just been taught to wear them when I see blood, but I just, I don't know. That's just tricky.
Well, that's the thing. It probably is more of a gimmick than anything to like highlight the fact that there's blood in the match. Because I mean, if you any wrestling back in the day, like two guys are bleeding and it's like forehead to forehead, or
Yep.
face to forehead, like you're both swimming in it.
Yep. Yep.
Personally, I never got into any matches like that myself. I've had plenty of injury and you have some blood here and there, but never like nothing crazy like that.
Did you ever intentionally bleed in a match?
No, never.
Never did the blade job or anything like that back in the day.
No, never had a desire for that. Never
It's
got it. Never got into any of the hardcore stuff, really.
like, yeah, I mean, those are really, the more you use them, the more it degrades the value, right? Like if you're showing blood every week, like, okay, you got to kick it up to an extreme. Whereas back in the day, like blood, signified like the pinnacle of hatred and heat, whereas now it's on TV.
Yeah, like I remember. This is before. I don't know if I was training at the time. I might have started training, but I went with some friends to another wrestling show. I think it was somewhere by Milwaukee or something like that. And this one dude had come out, and I mean, on his entrance, he came in. I guess he was known for this, but I'd never seen him before. But he had a cheese grater in his hand, and he just started cheese grating his forehead on the way to the ring before the match even started. And then like his forehead was all scarred up. Like he's done this before. And I was like, that's just like the grossest thing. And like, two, like it makes no sense whatsoever. And like, I was completely turned off from anything like that.
It reminds me of the Nick Gage stuff now with the all the stuff that he gets into and whatnot. But yeah, it's just not my style. Like I don't mind it as a very peak of a feud, escalating beyond whatever. But as a weekly thing, it's just not for me.
To that level, I'm like, I want to know what that guy does for a day job.
Right.
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 like there's no way you're working in a corporate environment or anything like
right.
that. You don't have much going on, is what I'm saying.
Right. What's your 9 to 5? Oh, no.
Oh yeah, cheese grater head. He's head of HR.
Right. I'd like to speak with you, Rick, about your issue happening.
But no, like I one time I actually during a match had a molar knocked out of my mouth.
Jesus.
From like I think it was like from a clothesline or like a discus clothesline or something like that, and the molar like it flew out, and I remember just hopping out of the ring. I'm at ringside. I just blood in my mouth, and it was just crazy. And I remember my grandma would come to all the shows back then, and she was like, "Oh, that's just ketchup." Like she thought any blood in wrestling was ketchup packets,
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And no, like I spit out molar, and then I got back in the ring and I finished the match, and I'm like, I didn't even get it fixed right away. I remember I'm like, I can just eat on the other side for a little while, and then I remember going to the dentist finally, and I was like, yeah, can you just pull that molar out? And he's like, dude, we can fix it. Like, I'm like, chances are this is going to happen again, and I'd always like, grind my teeth, in headlock takedowns for some reason. I'd always like
really?
chip my teeth or grind them. Yeah. It was really weird. Like I'd always chip teeth, and I never. Yeah, I'm just like file them down, or just like, pull them. I don't need them. Get rid of them. It's just gonna keep happening.
Right. Just take everything back there. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I remember one other time I had to get my wisdom teeth pulled, and I knew we had a show coming up that weekend, and some people get like I've heard stories of wisdom teeth how it's like really bad, and people go through like dry sockets and stuff like that. Like I guess have you ever had your wisdom teeth pulled?
I have not. So I cannot relate.
Oh, dude, so it's crazy, right? So, I mean, you don't really know what happens. They put you under and you wake up and, you don't have wisdom teeth anymore, but you're putting like gauze or whatever in your mouth and trying eating popsicles and stuff for a while,
Right.
Get the numbness down, you numb it, get the swelling down. And your face is kind of looks swollen for like a day or two. But anyways, I was like, they'll give you medication for it, to take to help with the pain and stuff. But for me, I was like, I didn't want to take any of the medication. And I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. I'll just wrestle this weekend, So yeah, I did I remember doing a show, dude, right after I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and like, it wasn't horrible. I mean, it hurt, but it wasn't, I feel like we take, we take more punishment than that,
Do you remember who you worked that weekend?
No, I don't recall who I worked with.
See, it's probably because of the medication you were taking. This is why I don't support it. I don't support it, Andy. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy, though. What's the craziest injury you've had to work through?
Oh, dude, craziest injury was I was at this show, and a match had just started off, and some dude was giving me a monkey flip out of the corner.
Okay.
And immediately tore my meniscus in my knee. And it I remember feeling it, and I think I rolled out of the ring for a minute. And then I'm like, we worked the whole rest of the match. I did some stuff on the outside, rolled back in, and, cause I work like, a different style, so it's not like I'm doing high flying drop kicks and flips off the top rope or anything, but, it's, it's just a older style, and I call everything in the ring. So there's not a lot of spots and stuff, Right. So, I just remember working the rest of the match, and, adrenaline's got you pumped up, and finishing the match. And then once the match was over, I started to like calm down, and that's when it started to hurt, which was really crazy. So like a lot of these guys get injuries, and they're like, oh, he worked a whole match through that. But you're so like adrenaline has you so pumped up, and you don't want to let anybody down. You want to finish the match. You just want to get through it and worry about it later. A lot of guys will wrestle injured and just work around it. That's how I grew up in wrestling, is working around it.
Right. Or make it the deal, like if you hurt your ankle, like, okay, well, you've hurt your ankle, like work around it, but make that, you can't lift people, you can't do this, you can't do that, like make it part of what you're doing.
Yeah, and I've had people like, oh, yeah, like you twist your ankle or something, and hey, just work that leg,
right,
and we'll just work it into the match somehow, work around it. But yeah, no, dude, like that was probably one of the worst ones, because like your meniscus, it like, that takes like, I want to say like a full year it took before I even felt comfortable running the ropes and stuff. It just felt weird for the longest time, you just didn't feel like 100% comfortable in there,
When was
it? This was way back before. I know it was during the heydays of when JWA was popping back in the day. when we first started getting that rolling, and because I remember I knew I had the surgery and stuff, and then we had a show, and I remember coming to the show on with a knee brace on and like crutches and stuff, you know. And I'm like, oh, I'll just milk this as an angle, you know. And it was so cool because I remember doing this angle where I'm just kind of at ringside the whole night, nothing much going on, and then at the main event, pull the ref out before he does the 3, start stomping on him with the bad leg, you know.
Right.
And everybody thought I was faking, and so much so that a fan after the show was like, "Oh, I knew you were faking," and kicked me in the back of the knee of my bad legs, like right after I had the surgery. And that I was like, "Oh, dude," but that's how good I was selling it, you know. It was it was crazy. So I loved it because I sold it so great, but man, did that hurt.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah. But dude, I've seen guys get hurt, you know, breaking bones in their face. I've seen guys, popping their shoulders out of socket, you know, having to go sit in the waiting room of the ER. All kinds of stuff can happen, man. And, you know, sometimes for the most part, it's just little things, but you always see online stuff gets real serious, man. Look at that, when Cody Rhodes wrestled with the torn, was it just a torn pec?
Yep, torn.
He was all purple, and he worked the whole. Didn't he tear it a couple nights before that, and then worked the mat, and then worked a whole like amazing match, you know?
Right.
And then he's out now, right? When does he come back? Does he come back?
So I think he's due back. Like his rehab is November. But a lot of rumors of, you know, Royal Rumble time, you know, in the middle of the season, you know, kind of saving him for that.
How crazy, because something like that, like, how do you know when it's 100%? Like,
right.
To where you're like, oh, yeah, I can work a Fools.
Well, that's the John Cena thing. But Cena tore his bicep or something like that, something crazy back in the day. And then that miraculous, like, healing thing where he was back like 3 months ahead of the schedule. It's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it was like a bicep or something, because I remember me and a couple other dudes were supposed to go to some pay-per-view. You know how they always hire extras and stuff? And the thing was to beat down, you know, attack John Cena in the back or something. Yeah, and then at the, you know, a week before that, he tore his bicep and they canceled the whole thing.
Oh, damn.
They scrapped the whole thing, yeah.
Did you ever get to be an extra for any of those shows?
No, I never did anything like that. I know some of the guys that would go and you know, hang out in catering and stuff. Long Time would always have stories and stuff about it, you know, because he did some of those, you know, Velocity tapings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. God, and we just got to hang out with Long Time. I just want to say, love that guy. Love working with that guy.
Yeah, wasn't he awesome? He just brings like an extra just level to your show. Like everybody was so into that when he came out. He just like commands the room, dude. It's crazy.
He does. And you like having a vet like that, especially with a lot of younger guys, you know, just bringing it back to the injury spot. You know, I was, like I said, I've only ever been in the ring for a few things, and one was a guy getting knocked out. And I don't remember I remember the guy who got knocked out. I don't know who was wrestling him, but he was working a mask gimmick. And I remember checking on him. He had gone to eat a corner, and he was kind of like, he lost his legs on it. I went to check on him, and I wasn't getting much of a response. I was getting something, but it was clearly not all there. So I remember going telling the other person, hey, you know, go work the crowd while I figure out what's going on here. I'm getting yelled at from the back through the headphones. What's going on? What's going on? And I'm sitting there, I'll figure it out. And the guy came too, but you know, that was 7 years ago now when that happened. You know, if you did that today, I mean, you got to take that guy out of the ring immediately. You know, once you start noticing that he doesn't have his legs under him and he's trying to figure out which stars he's supposed to be counting. It's a different world than it was back then.
Yeah, one time I recall, I was working a match and I took a big, it was like the main event. I took a big cross body off, somebody gave me a cross body off the top rope, and just that gravity, you can't really control a lot of that. And just that gravity, I smacked the back of my head on the mat on the way down. And I'd worked the whole rest of the match, dude. I did the whole thing, like probably an extra 10 minutes out there, and then came to the back, the whole thing, went to the back, sat down to take off my boots, and somehow I had forgotten all that, and I thought I was putting my boots on, and I remember asking people, I'm like, hey, when does the tag match get done? When do I go out? Like, how much more time do I have left? And everybody thought I was joking, and I'm like, no, like, seriously, when's the tag match done? And they're like, dude, everyone's gone. Like, you worked already. Like, show's over. Like, that was, and, yeah, like, I got a little concussed, but that's some scary stuff but it just took me like, maybe a little bit longer than I could remember the match and stuff, It was just really weird.
And would you say more injuries happen because guys are taking risks, or would you say that when you're watching, more guys are getting injured because they just don't work with each other enough? Because when we were training, guys were working with each other 2 to 3 times a week in, just training matches and at shows. Whereas now you maybe meet a guy who trains somewhere else. You have to go out there, throw a 15-minute match together. Plus you have to take some risks because the later you are in a card and stuff like that, the more you have to overcome the energy levels of things before. So you may have never, locked up with a guy, and you're going out there and just trying to do what you can do. Do you think it's more the lack of working with each other, or the fact that it's just constantly everyone's trying to do more and more?
No, I don't think it's anything like that. I think just accidents happen, dude. Just like any other sport. I think wrestling's way more safe and controlled because, everybody's kind of, in a way, everybody's kind of trained the same way. You can train with all these guys all you want, week in and week out. Somebody's still going to get hurt, because, maybe a top rope or something gets a little too slippery, or, your timing's off that day for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, just like little things, a rope breaks,
Right.
Things you can't control. But like, I always tell it, everybody is always asking me like, oh, one time I was walking around with a walking boot on, and everybody's like, oh, do you have a cool story about wrestling, how you got hurt, why you got that walking boot on? And it's like, no, I tweaked my ankle in my backyard. Like, like there's, it was just a stupid thing, and there's no story behind it, whatsoever. Like, just accidents happen, dude, because I've wrestled guys that I've never even met before, and, everything's been fine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm out there protecting myself. Yeah, you're putting a lot of faith in the other person. And yourself, like, even if you meet somebody for the first time and they're like, I'm going to give you a pile driver. Nah, we're not doing that. Right. You know what I mean? Let me go see you do 20 of them right now.
Right. Well, that's kind of my point, right? It's like, these guys who have, second half matches are starting to do these crazier and crazier moves. And it's just interesting going from show to show to show. And just, it's fascinating to me to think of all these guys going through all this training, typically in one ring, right? You train in an 18-foot ring. You train in a 16-foot ring. You train with one with real ropes, one with cable ropes, one with padding, one with up, like all this stuff. and you start to learn these things. You learn 2 steps rope, 2 steps rope, or 3 steps rope. Like these things because of the size of the ring and that muscle memory that you're building. And these guys are going from show to show, wrestling on a 16 foot, a 20 foot, like all these different styles of rings. And the ropes are loose, they're tight, they're thick, they're thin, like all sorts of different variables through that. And then they throw them in there with some guy that, they're meeting for the first time, but they feel like they've got to do, oh yeah, I'll take that stomp from the corner. Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. I'll take that pile driver. I'll take that power bomb. We'll figure it out. And it's like, dude, like maybe not.
Yeah. Well, and that too. And then, you're having matches like ladder matches. You're seeing guys do all these ladder matches, or, you start bringing in like tables and chairs. Like you can't control those things.
Right.
Like, all you got to do is slip on a ladder,
Right.
Like, let alone in a spot, you're not really practicing those things. You know what I mean?
Right. And so you see these injuries and these guys, they miss shows then, right? Like you blow your knee out, your meniscus, like you said, it took you a year to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Let alone having matches throughout that time frame. So like, is the risk worth the reward when you see that stuff going out there? It's just interesting, for every person to person. It's by no means one size fits all solution for everyone, but it's just interesting to think of it from that risk reward standpoint. With a lot of the stuff that we see.
Yeah, but it was nice, it was like, like all the guys, that we currently work with, pretty much for the most part, all train together in some aspect, and everyone's kind of familiar with each other's movesets and things like that. But then, we'll bring in other top guys from other areas that are highly skilled too, and these guys are just going out and just having these awesome matches, and not, and have never met each other before, or have never worked each other. So, it's just like, just like any sport, dude, accidents happen. You gotta, it's very minimal, but it does happen, and you just take the good with the bad,
Yeah, or you just tell people, yeah, I'm not taking that.
Yeah. Oh, dude. If somebody says a name of a wrestling move and it's like they say the name that they call it on TV, we're not doing it. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like that's a big no, especially if the guy's smaller than you.
Yeah.
I had one time, short sleeve Samson. This was early on in my career. Short sleeve Samson wanted to actually like body slam me in a match, and I'll tell you what, there is no physical way that man could body slam me, and I had to just last second tuck my own chin, or I probably would have landed on my neck. Yeah, that was one of the scariest moves I've ever taken. It's hardly
you ever been body slam from short sleeve Samson.
Yeah, dude. Like legit, man. Like but it all worked out, thankfully. But it could have gone bad,
Right.
It very well could have gone bad, but yeah, I mean, have you seen any injuries since you've been back roughing?
No, it's been really easy. I've seen guys blown up and want to go do like, so my big thing when I referee is I'll listen in when guys are building their match together, for not only so I know what's going on, right, but I know where to be, to not be in their way and make sure because I'm calculating everything in real time, but I want to know as much as I can, about where the cameras are, where the guys are going to be. So I listen to them build their matches and kind of know their sequences and so forth, and kind of what they're building towards. So I'll recognize when guys are blown up and they're about to get into what could be a very strenuous sequence, and I'll know to like, hey, let's buy some time here. Let's do some stuff to get off of here. No, let's do leapfrog, drop down, leapfrog, clothesline. Come on, suplex. It's like, dude can't breathe right now. You want him to jump over you? Like let's calm that down before something bad happens.
And we'll do one leapfrog, but then we're gonna do something else.
Right. So I've been pretty good, I think, in preventing some bad stuff from happening.
Yeah.
There was one, or it was basically that, where it was at a show where they were a guy had not worked a lot of matches, and he was tired, and they had something big planned for a spot, and I'm like, yeah, that's not happening right now. You either roll out of the ring or I'm gonna get in the guy's face. What is it? And he's like, I can't roll. I'm like, okay, so I'll go get in his face. So I got in the other guy's face, and I was just basically yelling at him, and every other word was, he's blown up. But it's stuff like that where you just recognize those little things where it could be disastrous what's going on, and then you kind of go from there. But yeah, I don't know. I think these guys are working a safer style right now with where they're at. They don't feel like they've got to do too much. There's not a lot of springboard stuff. There's not a lot of corner stuff. And as you alluded to before, I feel like most of the vicious injuries are from guys coming off the corners and stuff like that and slipping or trying to plant on a rope and then, it giving way because, it's not tight enough or so forth. And I'm a big proponent of taking care of the ring, big proponent of safety and finding ways to do things so it's not a high risk situation.
Yeah, sometimes I see some of these guys climb to the top rope and they're like, I'm like, oh. I'm like, please jump in the middle of the ring.
Right? Like, everyone thinks like, they play video games their whole life and they're like, oh, climb into the top rope. It's easy. You just, go right up there. It's like, no, dude, that's a little bit up there, and there's not a lot that you're holding up. There's no platform there. You're standing on a Y, it's not a lot of room up there, and to stand up straight up and down. Because a lot of people will, when they're early on, they'll crouch, right? They'll hold on to the rope and they'll crouch, come on. And then last second will stand. But those guys who are brand new to it, like you said, they get up there and they're like, come on. And they're waving their arms. And then suddenly they start to get a little wobbly and you go, oh God, just come into the ring. Don't fall out of it.
Yeah. And I think there's something like, I don't know, you got to be comfortable with your own balance or something, because I always just would envision, like, I would climb up rarely, but I would sometimes climb up to the top rope and, do like a double axe handle spot or something like that. But I would always envision like, when Randy Savage would just effortlessly climb up and do the pose and come flying off. And that's how I would I don't know. I would always think of that. And that's how I position my feet and make it look effortless, Now,
were you a guy that went out of the corner and then up, or did you go up and turn?
No, I would go from the outside. I'd go out and up.
You go out and up? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
how you got to do it.
A lot of guys are going straight up and turning, and I'm like, that's just, I don't see how you could do that.
No, that's not, I wouldn't do that.
Right? Yeah, that's just crazy.
I don't know. I'm pretty cautious in the ring as is. I'm pretty safe. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't do anything crazy anyways, but.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
But dude, once you get into a match though, like, dude, I almost got into an impromptu match last show. Like I was ready though, dude. Once I started stomping, I was like, oh, I could do this.
Is that why they didn't play his music? Is that why?
Yeah, I'm like, hold off, hang on.
Yeah, hold on. Maybe we can figure this out.
I was ready, man.
I know. I felt it.
Plus, hey, sometimes that top rope becomes a second rope. That's what you got to do,
It's still one of my showcase matches I love to talk about is the impromptu top ropes to second ropes to top rope match.
Show must go on. One of these days we'll watch that whole match and we'll cover it. I know you'd mentioned that to me one time, and we need to do that for sure.
Oh, I'll watch along. I'm in.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Stay safe out there. Don't get crazy.
dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Countdown, levitate. Going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate. On time, never late. I grind, celebrate. No pump, fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day. Champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now stepping up to home. Like straight out the sandlot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Smile good, skin clear. This here my year. Hey, look up here. This here my tier. Same fit 4 days. I grind 4 ways. I play no games. All me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave. Can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane. Can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I cleared 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast.